If you saw the debate, yeah, if you saw the debate the other day where it was the Satanists and Gavin Newsom, Gavin Newsom handed the Satanist his ass on a silver platter. Um, so not only did so Newsom humiliated the Satanists in every way on faux news. Now California Governor Gavin Newsom not only stood up for his state, but he made a great case in defending Biden on faux. Um, Now, when Florida Governor Ron DeSantis agreed to debate California Governor Gavin Newsom, it's unlikely he knew that his presidential campaign would be failing to the extent it currently is. But he still would have thought twice about it. Now, whatever, whatever he thought his political skills might be, um, just to let you people know, DeSantis is terrible when it comes to debating, just like Trump is terrible at debating. Um, He's managed to barely hold his own in the sad Trumpless GOP primary debates that have been dominated by his rival, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, but he did himself no favors on Thursday night when he finally met with Newsom on Sean Insannity's faux show. Um, any Trump sycophants, which would include virtually all of faux viewers, they were primed to watch Newsom be humiliated, but it went the other way around. Now, Trump spokesman Stephen Chung, either taking dictation from the boss or channeling him perfectly, put out this humdinger of a statement in advance of the event. Basically, this is what Stephen Chung had said because he's a Trump ball washer. Ron DeSantis is acting more like a thirsty third-rate OnlyFans wannabe model than an actual squatter candidate. Instead of actually campaigning and trying to turn around his dismal poll numbers, DeSantis is now so desperate for attention that he's debating a grade A loser like Gavin Newsom, which, not from what we saw in that debate stage, Gavin Newsom did not turn out to be a loser there. Um, at the debate, DeSantis will flail his arms and bobble his head wildly, looking more like a San Francisco crackhead than the governor of Florida. This isn't a prediction; it's going to be a spoiler alert. Um, and ouch, this is considered harsh even by Trump standards, but Trump didn't personally weigh in, but he did post this on his fraud social media site. Um, Basically, he typed Battle of Loserville, and Trump knows all about being a loser because that's what he is. And insanity was much kinder to DeSantis than that, but it didn't help. It didn't help much, and DeSantis certainly didn't help himself either. The questions were all loaded with statistics in favor of DeSantis, designed to put Newsom on the defensive. But I don't think there was even one data point that that DeSantis presented that put Florida in a more negative light, because So it was up to Gavin Newsom to provide context and correct the record, which he did quite effectively. Now, for instance, the Satanist was programmed to insist that Californians are moving to Florida in droves, which he did approximately a dozen times, and maybe those 4 viewers were convinced, but it's not true. As Newsom pointed out repeatedly, per capita, more Floridians have actually moved to California than the other way around. So people are fleeing Florida and moving to California. They're not leaving California and fleeing to Florida, as DeSantis was trying to point out. So they're actually leaving Florida to go to California. Now, insanity threw one question after another right over the plate to DeSantis, but he was the one who ended up on the defensive, as Newsom not only stood up for his state, but he made a great case for Joe Biden on foe, which was the whole point of the exercise. They sparred over their COVID-19 response, while with DeSantis making repeated fascist comments about Newsom going to the French Laundry restaurant during the lockdowns. But Newsom got the better of the argument by pointing out that DeSantis wants to have it both ways by portraying himself as a defiant contrarian on the mitigation issues and measures, when in fact he called for all of them early, and then decided that it would be in his best interest to prematurely repeal all of them, resulting in many unnecessary deaths. And DeSantis claimed it wasn't true, but it certainly is. But according to an LA Times analyst of the Johns Hopkins University data on COVID deaths, California had 2,560 COVID deaths for every 1 million residents, and Florida had 4,044 COVID deaths for every 1 million. Now, in other words, Florida's raw death tally, which was 86,850 in early March, came close to California's total of 101,159, despite California having roughly 18 million more residents than Florida does. It is true that Florida has a large senior population, but that should have argued for DeSantis to be more cautious and not less. His legacy on COVID-19 is shameful, and the fact that he actually brags about it is mind-boggling. They also argued about crime statistics, with the Satanists accusing Newsom of presiding over a crime wave, while Newsom pointed out that it actually declined precipitously over the past couple of decades. Now, one set of statistics which insanity showed naturally has California having more violent crimes than Florida, but Newsom responded correctly that Florida actually has a higher murder rate than California. Now we wonder when, or if insanity would discuss abortion, seeing it as a serious problem for the Satanists due to the draconian laws that he signed up for. He signed a 15-week ban, and then a 6-week ban a few months later. Insanity tried to nail Newsom with the right's tiresome question about whether he would outlaw all abortions after a certain period of time, but Insanity didn't get very far, and neither did the Satanists. Newsom said that these instances are exceedingly rare, and they are almost always because of a tragic fetal anomaly, which is correct. Now, I'm not a politician, but if I were, I would always use the example of a real person in that situation, and then ask whether or not politicians and judges are competent to make such complicated medical decisions. And most people would agree with me that they are not. Now, the Satanists pretty much just stood there like a potted plant, obviously wanting to get past the subject as soon as possible. Just yesterday, a poll was released showing that 62% of Floridians want to vote the right to abortion, up to 24 weeks into the state constitution, and that includes 52% of Republicans. And now he made a huge mistake in judgment on that call. Now, one of the most jarring aspects of the debate was that throughout, the Satanists kept bizarrely talking about shit. And that's right, feces. This is actually an old right-wing obsession going back to the civil rights marches, the Vietnam War protests, and most recently Occupy Wall Street. There are always tales of rampant public defecation, and they can't stop talking about it. Now, the Satanist seems to have a particularly fetish about this feces shit problem, as illustrated in this bizarre moment. Now, PolitiFact, which fact-checked much of the debate, if you're interested, explains what that's all about if you really want to know. Now, apparently, the Satanist's hapless campaign felt that it would be a good show and a good idea to showcase him on a friendly network because it would give him a chance to talk about how great Florida really is, and it turned out to be the exact opposite. The problem is that there isn't a Republican primary voter on the planet who hasn't heard him drone on endlessly about what a fantastic job he's done in Florida, and frankly, they're getting fucking sick of it. But that's what they got last night, along with a laundry list of culture war talking points that really showed the Satanists watches the same shows they do. Now, it's possible that a few people came away thinking that they should give him a second look, but I doubt because it was just more than a handful. He's just so fucking odd and pathetic. Now, Newsom probably made a few new fans among the Democrats who tuned into the cage match. Basically, Newsom was loose and competent, and why shouldn't he be? Even though he's not running for anything, he's not running for president, he's not running for any office as of right now. But there is a point that he made clear, and he archly declared that the one thing everyone can agree on is that neither of the two of them were going to be president in 2024. But the debate was best summed up by former Republican strategist Stuart Stevens, who quipped, "In the history of American politics, the Satanist will go down as the chump who not only lost every debate in his race, but he lost to a guy who isn't even in the race, and that's fucking talent." Because, like I said, Newsom isn't running for any office. He's not running for president. He's not running for governor right now. He's not running for any political office. But he basically handed the Satanist his ass on a silver platter. Now, I didn't watch the debate, but the Satanist was trying to claim that he came out the winner when it was the exact opposite around. The Satanist actually had his ass handed to him, and he lost bigly. But if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. You can leave a comment, let me know what you think. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just a little as a few bucks a video or a monthly donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.